We've got a lot to discuss on today's video, so let's dive into it. Daniel Jones and his latest injury updates, we're going to break those down as Brian Daboll had some words to say, as well as DJ. Also, Saquon Barkley. Are the trade rumors dead? We'll talk about that. And we have injury updates on Andrew Thomas and John Michael Schmitz. Could the Giants' offensive line be getting healthy at the right time? And then we're going to close out the show breaking down the entire Giants injury report, as it was a lengthy one today following Wednesday's practice. Before we talk about it, I got to make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We are on the cusp of getting to 40,000 subs on the channel, but only 10% of you guys have your notifications selected to all and enabled YouTube push notifications. So change that, because the trade deadline, it's almost here. If the Giants make a move, we're making a video. Subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on. Alrighty, Daniel Jones, as you know, has missed the last 2 weeks due to a neck injury, and he has returned to practice as of last week, but has still not been cleared for contact. Daniel Jones said it's just about passing a couple more tests to get cleared at this point, and he continues to echo that it is his goal to play this week. Brian Daboll also talked about what would happen if Daniel Jones is healthy. We'll break that down. Jordan Raanan, though, of ESPN tweeted this out, saying Daniel Jones said he feels good and is doing more each week. It's just about passing a couple more tests in order to get cleared for contact. But Jones did say there are some symptoms. His optimism on not being shut down is in that it's a different injury than 2021, when he ended up missing the rest of the season, about 5 games. And there have been other players with similar neck injuries that Jones is dealing with right now that have returned in a comparable timeline. Jones wouldn't specify which player. So it's just about Daniel Jones being cleared for contact, which he has not been at this point. Brian Daboll also made it abundantly clear that if and when Daniel Jones is back to being 100% healthy, he is going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants. And that is expected. But I will say this. Daniel Jones's leash, when he is back as the starter, will be a little bit tighter. Look, Tyrod Taylor, plain and simple, has played better up to this point in the season. Are there factors contributing to that? Absolutely. But the facts are the facts. The Giants look better as an offense right now with Tyrod Taylor. But according to Daboll, once DJ is healthy, he will be back in the saddle. I do want to ask this question, though, before we keep it moving on today's video. To pick a quarterback, who would you rather see under center for the New York Football Giants? Is it Daniel Jones? Is it Tyrod Taylor? Type the jersey number of the player that you want to see be quarterback number 1. The NFL trade deadline is just about a week away. And Brian Daboll said he caught wind of all of the rumors about Saquon Barkley. He also told him that we're not trading you. Brian Daboll said he approached Saquon Barkley individually and said, yo, it ain't happening. We are not trading you. And honestly, probably for good reason at this point. Saquon Barkley has had a pretty up and down year, I would say, considering he's missed a couple of weeks with the high ankle sprain. But he's also fumbled once, and he's also been involved in 2 other interceptions. Whether you want to say it's his fault or not, I'll let you decide it. But when he's been healthy and when he's actually been in the game and getting the rock, he's been productive. 3 total touchdowns this year, 284 rushing yards, almost 100 receiving yards. Had that big play last week. And he's also flashed some really, really similar qualities that he has possessed about big play ability. Look, but this is my thing. If you aren't going to trade Saquon Barkley, like Brian Daboll said the Giants are not going to do, if you're not going to trade him, and you're not going to give him a contract extension, what are we doing? Because the Giants have been reluctant, obviously, to give Saquon Barkley an extension. It didn't work out last season. They negotiated for 6 separate months. They ended the negotiations far apart, and then they agreed to a pretty much more incentivized franchise tag. So maybe we're heading for the franchise tag again, and I don't hate that idea. It benefits the Giants the most. Unfortunately, Saquon Barkley gets the rough end of that. But I'm always going to be in favor of the Giants doing what's best for them, and the franchise tag might just be that. What do you think, though? Should the Giants trade Saquon Barkley? They're 2-5. Schedule's getting a little easier. Maybe they can turn it around, or should they trade Saquon? I mean, if you're going to let him walk in free agency, you might as well try to get something back for him. A lot of discussion on this right now. What do you think? Type T for trade, type P for pass. We've also got an injury update on Andrew Thomas and rookie center John Michael Schmitz. and a lot of other people's on the injury report. We'll break that down in a second. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, ZBiotics. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports and use the promo code chatsports. And ZBiotics is going to hook you up 15% off your first purchase. Let's face it, after y'all hit me with a bunch of super chats, I don't always bounce back well the next day, and that is until I found ZBiotics, which is a pre-alcohol probiotic, and it is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut where you need it most. Drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports and remember to use the promo code chatsports, or you can scan this QR code right here. You must go to the link or scan the QR code for the deal to apply. Shout out to ZBiotics, and thank you for sponsoring today's video. That info is in the comments and description. The injuries across the offensive line have been abundant for the New York Giants, and I have been asked a million times, Marshall, what's the deal with Andrew Thomas? Marshall, what's the deal with John Michael Schmitz? There wasn't updates for a long, long time, but we have one now. Andrew Thomas is back at practice in a limited capacity for the first time in a long time. Has not played since week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys when he strained that hamstring chasing down a blocked field goal. He tried to come back for week 4, suffered a setback, but now he's starting to ramp up his rehab, and he's going to be at practice for hopefully for the remainder of the week. He was out there this Wednesday. I don't know if he's going to play this week against the Jets, but it's absolutely a step in the right direction. The media asked Thomas, is he going to play? And he said, I'm not going to make any predictions on how I am feeling. Another injury that we have been monitoring is John Michael Schmitz, rookie center. He has not played since week 4, and he hasn't practiced since week 4 until today on Wednesday. He was once again at practice, as well as Andrew Thomas, and that's great news for the New York Football Giants because we know their offensive line has been extremely injured. And I would just love for the Giants to have an opportunity to roll out there with this offensive line. Andrew Thomas at left tackle, Justin Pugh at left guard, John Michael Schmitz back at center, Ben Bredeson sliding over to right guard, and Evan Neal at right tackle. Is this the best offensive line in the world? No, but it is miles better than what we have seen the past couple of weeks. Not sure if we get that versus the Jets this week. Maybe it's next week, but we are inching week by week, day by day, closer to the Giants getting back to 100% healthy on that front 5. Look, they need him back. The Giants need Andrew Thomas back. The Giants need John Michael Schmitz back. You're only as good as your play in the trenches. And on defense, the play in the trenches is starting to heat up. We need that same thing to happen on the offensive end. If this offensive line can get healthy down the stretch, they can win some of these games. Because when you look at the Giants' schedule right now, there are a lot of winnable ball games. Look, the Jets are winnable. The Raiders are winnable. The Commanders are winnable. The Patriots are winnable. The Packers are winnable. The Saints are winnable. The Rams are winnable. You win all those games, you're going to be back in the wild card spot contention because considering you're only 1.5 games back right now. But you're going to have to steal at least one game against the Cowboys or Eagles. 3 of those games left. Can you get a win and an upset in one of those games? I think that is what is going to be needed. We'll see if the Giants' playoff hopes happen. It'll teeter-totter on those 3 games. Predict the Giants' final record for me. What do you think? Sitting at 2-5 right now? I just showed you there were 7-8 winnable games right there. Can they do it? We'll find out. Predict the Giants' final record for me down below. Let's close the show talking about some injury news. These were the players that were limited at practice on Wednesday. Saquon Barkley still dealing with that elbow. Said he hyperextended it earlier in the game, and which, you know what, I commend him for playing through. And he also took complete ownership of that fumble late in the fourth quarter. Said the elbow injury had nothing to do with it. Graham Gano dealing with a left knee injury. Shout out to Mr. Cha. He was right on that. So I said he wasn't practicing during pregame last week. He was the first on it. Adoree Jackson did not practice last week. He was limited today. Did not play with a neck. Daniel Jones, once again limited. Evan Neal did not play last week. Hopefully he's trending in the right direction. We told you about John Michael Schmitz and Andrew Thomas. And then Kayvon Thibodeau as well as Darren Waller were also limited. I'm expecting all these guys on the screen to play outside of Daniel Jones this week. Guys that did not practice. Gary Brightwell with a hamstring injury, and Leonard Williams kind of got a vet's day to rest. Other news that has happened for the Giants, Eric Gray is going to be headed to IR. The Giants signed a running back, Deion Jackson. I'm blanking on the name, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was. From the Colts, Deion Jackson is who they signed to the practice squad. But we showed you that they signed Jashaun Corbin to the active roster. So maybe the running back rotation this week, or the guys that are active, are Barkley, Breida, as well as Jashaun Corbin, with Gary Brightwell probably out. Maybe they activate Deion Jackson. As always, just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you for tuning in. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up icon. It would mean a lot. And if you are a Knicks fan, tune in tonight on the Knicks channel. We're going to be live. Game 1 of the season. Knicks, Celtics, Big Bucket Brunson. He's going to get it done.